Welcome to Touching Eternity, the podcast. We're going to be talking about tarot tonight. We've been prepping for this for a while, so I'm going to let a few of you guys sign on. I signed on a little early to allow that. So join us tonight on Touching Eternity, the podcast. All right, let's go to full screen. Welcome. Let me get my glasses on because I'm going to need them tonight. So I'm going to let a few people sign on. We had a really great session last night, getting everybody prepped for tonight. Hey, Kim, how you doing? Welcome. We'll let a few people get signed on because I do have a PowerPoint and I want to get enough people into the room because I'm not going to be able to backtrack because the lesson that I'm going to be giving online is actually 4 PowerPoints long, and we're not going to do it all tonight. It's going to have to go over a couple of weeks. So tonight is just one of the 4. And so it's going to go over a few weeks, and but it's going to help you understand the tarot, and I may not even cover it all, but this is going to be, I might cover the entire course over the internet. So, but this is just to give you a little taste of the course and get you familiar with reading tarot and understanding the tarot. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of time, but I recommend if you're really interested in wanting to learn how to read or understanding a little bit more about the tarot, grab a notebook. Grab a pen. Be sure just to save this episode. It will be saved on YouTube, so please subscribe. Definitely, if you're interested in learning tarot, this is going to be a great starter. Like I said, I've been prepping everybody so that they can keep up and get a better understanding of the last few nights when I do my little rants at night. We went over a lot of the cards and just kind of talked about the Fool's Journey. You know, we didn't get into the meanings of the cards. We just talked about the Fool's Journey. I showed people a couple of the different lays. We talked a little bit about the different suits and what they kind of focus on. So we know that the cups are all about the hearts in a regular deck of cards. And it's about emotions and things that bring about emotions, that the coins are about things that bring value or take away value. The wands are about careers or people's, like, their journeys or those types of things, and that the swords, or which is the air stuff, those are about legal things or law or just general law type things. And so combinations of those cards all have general meanings that go through life. Tonight we're going to go over the Major Arcana, and in a moment I'm going to pop up the PowerPoint and we're going to get started because we're going to go through the entire Fool's Journey, and we're going to talk a little bit about each and every card in the Major Arcana deck. So it's Tarot with Sid, the whole story. And when you come to the class, this is the book that you will get. You won't get it, but you'll get a download of it that you'll have and be able to keep it. But you'll have these in the class. I'll have some of these. But you'll get a download. You have to leave them because I use these in the classroom if you come in person, and then I give you I'll download you one to have at home. And it covers everything there is about tarot. We talk about the numerology, the symbology, the colors. We talk about every card that's in the deck. We go over the Fool's Journey. We go over all the different elements of the card, the symbology and stuff in the cards, and you really get to understand when I say to you that you learn the cards. However, in intuitive tarot, it's about building your relationship with the cards. So I tell people, learn how basically to tell the story. Learn how to tell stories. And I always recommend getting children's books. And I've said this before, get children's books, get little 10-page stories or things that are kind of rhythmic and flow, and learn to be able to tell those, because when you learn to read, that's the kind of flow you want. You want that energetic flow. Get your notebook out, and like I said, tonight is going to be all about the Major Arcana, and I use the Rider-Waite deck because it is the original version. I always recommend people to learn with Rider-Waite, and then you can, once you learn to read and you're comfortable with your reading, then you can expand to the other decks. I've always stuck with Rider-Waite. I don't read with any other deck. I can even read playing cards. I can read symbology cards. And after I finish the tarot series, I am going to get into the symbology cards because that's actually my deck that I created, and I use that with my mediums and my psychics when I'm teaching them intuition. So I will do a video about those as well. So let's get started because I do have enough people to move forward, and now it is 8:03, so hopefully people won't miss too much. So Tarot with Sid, the whole story, the Major Arcana. And guys, like I said, I do have, there are four PowerPoints. This is only the first one, and we're only doing one tonight because I can only do one a night because they can be long. Because this course was normally a 7-week course, and it was done like one night over 7 weeks. It's a week-long course. So the first card we're going to go is the card 0. It's the Fool. And I'm hold it up there. And it's the Fool's Journey. We're going to talk about the Fool. Now I'm going to hold the card up here because when I go to the next slide when it talks about the Fool, the card's not there anymore. So I will continue for those who do not have a deck. I will continue to hold the card here so you can see it. And remember what I told you last night. When you look at this card, I mean, look at the card very well. Look at the colors. Look at the bright colors. Look at the scene. Look at the mountains in the back with the ice caps on the top. And look how the Fool is dressed with, with like his legs exposed. So it could be, it's up high. It could be very cold. So he's dressed very colorful. He's not paying attention where he's going. He's about to walk off a cliff, but he's very clever. He's got a dog with him who's, barking at him to tell him that, hey, be careful. You're about to walk off a cliff. So when he's straight up, he's usually very clever. But when he's upside down, not so clever. So again, let's see what all that means. Again, let's go to the next slide, which is about the Fool. So the meaning, free of burdens, free of worries, living in the now, fearlessly taking risks, not of bravery, but of being naive, a new start and a blank page, an open mind and an adventurous heart. If it's reverse, and now reverse, for most people, when they learn tarot, they always think reverse means when the card comes upside down. That's not how I personally read reverse. I read reverse as when I feel negative. If I'm reading and my vibration tells me this is something that I'm feeling negative towards, that's when I make it reverse. That's just how I do. Because if I learned that when you get a new deck and you start shuffling, unless you're really mixing the cards up, they might all be one way. They may all be the other. So I use it as my vibrational hit. But some people really, really read it. If it's straight up, it means one thing. If it's reversed, it means nothing. I go by my vibrational hit towards the card. The reverse meaning is foremost the victim of recklessness. Means he makes decisions without thinking. He does things unprepared or unplanned. The planet for the Fool is Uranus, and the element is air, and the numerology number is 0. The number is 0 of the card, which 0 is the same as a 9 in numerology. So somebody asked me that yesterday, and I should have answered that, but 0 and 9 are kind of the same. It's like ending. That is true in numerology. All right, let's move on to the next. And also, while we go, let's go back. Let me go back. I want to look at some things. So notice the vibrant colors. This is the one thing that I like about Rider-Waite. The colors are very vibrant. They're very detailed. They're not, a lot of decks in tarot have very pastel, a lot of them have very pastel colors, or they're very, they're not, they blend, and so they're not distinct. Rider-Waite has very distinct colors. They have very sharp angles. They have very clear, precise pictures that give you a feel, and that is why I like Rider-Waite. Other people feel other ways about it. I went the wrong way. All right. Next card is the Magician. So let's see. So on the Magician, I want you to look at the Magician really well. So, let me come a little closer here. So notice on the table that he has the 4 elements of the Minor Arcana. He has the Pentacle, he has the Cup, he has the Sword, and he has the Wand. They're all four on the table. And notice he has the infinity sign above his head. Notice the dress. Notice the colors. Notice the flowers growing. When we get into later on, when we continue with this course online, we're going to really get into some of the symbology. That's when we're going to start talking about a lot of these things that you see right here. This is just really for you to learn the meanings and some of like what the planetary involvement is as well. For those of you who know astrology, you can also use the planetary involvement when you're trying to understand the card a little bit. Okay? Okay, great. Thank you, Kathy. Yes, that's why I'm doing this. Because when I get to the class, I want to get more into the master class, because what I find when I teach tarot, people walk away with just a basic knowledge. I'm trying to give people the basics. I want to work more into the master side of it, where I get more into the ethics. I get more into the problem solving and those things. So that's why I'm doing this, Kathy. All right. And the meaning of the magician is revelation, positive transformation, progress, understanding which is already known, appreciating that which is already available. Clever, focused, diplomatic, interesting. Note the symbol of infinity representing the heights of achievement that are possible. Reverse meaning, low self-esteem, problems communicating, options are lacking, progress is difficult, and opportunities overlooked. Sometimes overconfidence or poor planning, that's obscure understanding, inability to utilize the tools available. Planet is Mercury, the element is air and earth, and the number is 1. 1 is all about beginnings. And remember, we're on the fool's journey. So this is beginning. This is, okay, this is where the fool knows he needs to take his first steps into life. He needs to move forward with his life. He's thinking about what it is I need to do with my life. Where is it I need to go? Am I going to make great decisions? Am I going to make bad decisions? Okay, and how does one do that? With the next card. All right, come on now. With the next card, which is the High Priestess. The High Priestess is a very lovely card. I want you to notice there's a lot of symbology in this card. So, and I do know what the B and J means. I don't know if I wrote it down this time. It's not Bartles and James like the alcohol. It does have a significant meaning. The black and white towers. Notice she's holding the Torah. Notice the oh God, I know what it is, and I can't think of it. It's in the Bible. Notice it's the plants behind her. Notice the and I drink it. Notice I know the word. I can't think of it. We'll get to it in symbology, but the fruit behind her has very significant meaning as well. And it is, and it's on the tip of my tongue. I actually drink a liqueur with it. Can't think of it right now. So it might be in here. I might have put it in here. So meaning is surprising and unexpected revelations may be coming. The High Priestess card represents illumination, knowledge, and truth. It's also, she means education. She is eminently feminine, mysterious, secretive, and intuitive. She's moody and aloof, and she's all-knowing or knowing all. Reverse meaning is passion, indiscretion, and modesty, promiscuity, seduction, betrayal, revealing secrets to cause embarrassment and hurt rather than to share knowledge. Selfishness or shallowness. The High Priestess card reverse may also be a warning to pay heed to a feminine health issue. Her planet is moon, her element is water, her number is 2. I use her a lot for education purposes. Pomegranates, that's what's behind her. I could. So those are pomegranates, and it's the same number that's in the Bible. So you count the pomegranates. That is what I wanted to say to you. It took me a minute. I knew it would come. All right. The next card is the mother of the cards, the Empress. And notice her long flowing gown. Notice the waterfall flowing through the woods around her. Notice everything growing around her. It's very significant of her. And meaning birth, growth, development, nurturing. The Empress is a good mother, fruitful, benevolent, loving, and caring, a person of station deserving of respect. Reverse meaning the opposite of nurturing and caring, disregard for others, abandonment of those who need care. Her planet is Venus, her element is Earth, and her number is 3. The Emperor. Now he's the father of the deck. Notice the how in the background the mountains are very kind of cold but stern and strong, with the river down below running behind the stone chairs. And notice the animal heads on the chairs, tops and arms. Note just look at the jewels and the crowns. Look at all of those things. Notice how he has a coin in one hand and a staff in the other. Okay, so that's all really, really significant when you're thinking about this guy. So when I'm reading, I'm looking at all these things, and whatever catches my eye first is what I use when I'm blending in everything else that I'm looking at. Represents power, stability, and leadership, fatherhood, a person to be counted upon, trusted, and respected. Reverse represents immature and controlling behavior, demand for power but lack of character. Its planet is Mars, its element is fire, his number is 4, which is all about security and trust. Number 5 is the Hierophant, which basically is the Pope. Okay. Notice the robes, the staff, notice the design work, the high place, the keys. Notice the little, like by his feet, the little cross down, that little 2 crosses on his shoes. But basically, he is the Pope. And he is the Pope, a teacher and a counselor, a good and benevolent influence, helping the subject understand the correct path. His reverse meaning is rejection of traditional morals, a renegade, anti-establishment, breaking the rules. Conversely, the inverted card often is thought to represent excessive stubbornness, stodginess, and inflexibility or conformity. His planet is Taurus, its element is Earth, and its number is 5. I'll give you a little, there it is, a little better. There we go. What does the Pope do? But marries people. Then the fool needs to fall in love. And so the lovers. Now, I don't always read the lovers for a relationship too. I need to say that too. Because we can, because people can love, their grandchildren. They can love life. They can love, they can love a friend. Love is caring. And so I remind people of that. And it depends on the cards around it by what I see and what I say. So the lovers is all about compassion. And notice by Eve, there's the stake in the tree. Just notice that. And I'm like, why did they do that? And then on the other side, there's Adam and all his naiveness. And so I'm look at the cards, let it talk to you. That's why I say this is all about passion and balance and understanding. And notice that we all have faults. But notice that things seem to grow better around Eve than they do Adam. Just saying. Because Adam's tree looks kind of, needs to bear a few more leaves, but Eve's has more, more vegetation, and it's grown more. And so I just say, I feel that looking at this, I feel that it's just about compassion. It's about love. It's about challenges in life that would endure love or would endure compassion as well. So pay attention to those things. Depending on the cards around it, it can take you in many directions. But let's look at the real meaning. But I just want you to be open. When you're reading tarot, it has to tell a story. Following the heart. That's what I was saying to you. Trust, relationship, responsibility, commitment. Also a partnership and cooperation. Reverse meaning, relationship problems. It could be a Romeo and Juliet, passionate lovers kept apart by their feuding families. It could be discontent resulting from a poorly considered marriage. Its planet is Gemini. Its element is air, and its number is 6. Remember, in numerology, 6 is the family number. 7 is the Chariot. And notice in the Chariot, there is 2 cities behind him, it looks like, with or one city with 2 different entryways. But they're shaped a little different. If you look, And just look at the different symbols all the way through. And like I said, when you with the warrior in front of with the chariot, when you get into the symbology of all these pictures, it's pretty cool. Now, the meaning is triumph, mastery, but not easy and swift, achieved through careful planning and hard work. Force of will and foremost by harnessing disparate forces to work in unison, self-control, confidence, commitment, effort, and focus that produces success. Reverse meaning difficulty or failure coordinating disparate forces, lack of control, lashing out. Rashness and decision, moving in circles, sometimes interpreted as a warning of stress-related illness such as ulcers. It says its planet is Cancer, which I don't know which planet is Cancer, but that's what it said. But I guess that's one of the astrological, the astrological constellation of Cancer. Its element is water, and its number is 7, which is a spiritual number. But also with this card, what I want to say, what I read this, because for me, this usually means some kind of journey of some kind, or some kind of needed journey, or planned journey. If it's unplanned, it was like it's a last minute thing for me. So it just depends what's around it on how I read this card. And number 8 is strength. So strength has a lot of notice the infinity mark above her head. Notice how she's got the lion, and kind of like the lion's looks like it's kind of willfully there, but how she just takes control of that situation. And look at the background. Look at all the green grass and the mountains in the background. Notice the healthiness of the fur and the growth of the vegetation around her. So when I say that, what I use at strength is not just like powerful or strong. It's also growth and happiness, and it's inner strength as well as could be muscular strength, and also for it's so you got to look at strength. It's also health. So think about good health. If it's upside down, it could mean poor health. So let's look at it. So meaning mastery, focused inward, force of will, self-control, the courage, confidence, and persistence to follow through to the successful conclusion in spite of difficulties. Harnessing one's own talents and strengths. Reverse meaning not in control and able to harness inner forces. Extremes of anger or timidity. Avoidance, cowardice, unable to break bad habits or overcome addictions. So to me, that's an illness. I have another card that I use for addiction. I have an addiction card in here that I use. Like I said, you're going to create, the cards are going to learn how you see them. And that's why I tell people practice, practice, practice. Because the cards will learn how you see them. And when you're reading, they just come out the way they need to come out. It just works. Its planet is Leo, its element is fire, and its number is 8. And 8 is about power and money. Now, this next card I'm about to show you I read it completely different. So I'm going to tell you what the book says, because that's what you're getting. And you can get this at Tarot. I will give you the website where this came from, but I think it's down. I think it has been taken down off the internet. But I'll tell you, I think it's tarotcard.meanings.net. But I don't think that's available anymore. The Hermit. So the Hermit is number 9. And notice the blue color. It almost looks nighttime. The white snow, the dark, like the pale gray, the pale blue, the white, the grayness. Then the only bright color is that yellow light and that yellow staff. And 9, 9 being the number of humanity, the number of endings, the number of turnover. But let's see what that means. Meaning introspection, spirituality, looking objectively at the world around. Learning for the sake of learning, stepping back from the fast-paced life for a while to take stock of where you are. It may be a time to consider the lessons of the past, which is a perfect definition of what a 9 year is about. Reverse meaning, antisocial, withdrawn, senile, lost in the dark, possibly a victim of betrayal. Perhaps fears of growing old or being alone. This can be a warning to think more objectively. Also beware of false or ignorant teachings. Traditionally reclusive, isolation, loneliness. Be conscious of disease related to aging, such as arthritis or hearing loss. Its planet is Virgo, its element is Earth, and its number is 9. This is also my distance card. I use this card for distance. If I'm looking for something that's going to show me distance, a lot of times I use this card to make me feel distance, and which is completely different than its meaning. But when I'm reading it, my guides know that. So this card will fall out right where it needs to when I want to see distance a lot of times. Or if I want to see if something's far away or if it's coming close, this card will pop up. The next card. The Wheel of Fortune. For me, this is never a bad card, ever. And whenever there's anything negative around it, it always makes it positive for me. So no matter what I see, this card makes everything better. So no matter what's negative, I know we're going to fix it, because if this card comes up near it, we're going to fix it. So I already know that it's going to get fixed. So let's look. That's just how I look at it. But let's see what the meanings are according to the book. Unexpected good luck. Raises, promotions, prosperity may be coming your way. Good news about health issues. Reverse meaning. Ups and downs, instability, unpredictability, apparent good fortune may not turn out to be so good after all. Its planet is Jupiter. Its elements are fire and water. And its number is 1 because it's 10. So it's a 1. But what I like about the Wheel of Fortune, what it says is whatever in life comes down or goes down, it eventually will have to come back up. So no matter what happens, it's gonna whatever part you're in, it's gonna turn around. Whether you're up, you will eventually go down. If you're down, you're gonna come back up. It's a constant rotation, and that's what you have to remember with the Wheel of Fortune. It just, when it's upside down, for me, it means it's happening slower. When it comes up, when it's up, it means you're doing good. You're on your way up. You're doing well. But when it's down, it means, hey, you're down here. But it's time now to start focusing on getting things to go back up again. That's how I read it. Justice. You see the scales, you see the sword. Remember, swords are all about legal stuff. And so there's sword in this one, and there's a small throne of justice, and the scales, and it is the 11 cards. So let's look at justice. Truth, balance, fairness, equality, doing the right thing, even if it's not the most desirable thing. Upside down, it's injustice, imbalance, unfairness, inequality, just the opposite. Not looking at the situation objectively. Disregard for what is right, failure to be honest with oneself or with others, unfair or excessive criticism. The planet is the constellation of Libra, and its element is air, and it is a 2, which is 2 is about fairness. The next one is the Hanged Man. Now I use this. This is a card that I use for more spirituality than I do the Hermit, because for me, I use the Hermit for time, for distance, but this is my card that I use more for spirituality. But greater understanding, sacrifice, humility, introspection, acceptance, contemplation. The Hangman is about to open one's mind and overcome preconceptions and prejudice. A card of meditation and revelation. So for me, that defines spirituality. So that's why I use the Hermit, because there's really not a lot of cards that tell you like timing in the tarot. So that's why I use the Hermit for that, and I use this for the spiritual. Reverse meaning is stubbornness, refusal to see others' viewpoint, distrust, narrow-mindedness, unwilling to sacrifice or compromise. The planet is the Neptune, and its element is water, and its number is 3. The one that freaks most people out, and it shouldn't, death. Because there is no death. There's just transition. And that's what this is all about. And so, notice the sun setting in the background. I found that kind of cool. Notice the religious person in the front in the yellow, and the death of the person on the ground, and the child and the female not even looking at death, and the child looking at the skeleton on the horse. And just like I said, just kind of when you get your cards, you just kind of build a relationship with them. And what is it, kind of what does all that mean to you? What does it mean? But then, and blend it with the true meanings, and then it's got to tell a story when it's laid out. So transformation and rebirth, a stern and unwavering messenger, heralding change that is inevitable and is coming soon. Reverse meaning something that should die, but it won't. I won't go there. Woo, let me not go there. Oh God, because I am a loving person. Something that should die, but it won't. A cycle should end, but is wrongly perpetuated. Resisting or delaying change. Inability to move on or after a tragedy. Guys, I'm just having fun with it. Its planet is Scorpio. And if any of y'all know Scorpio, that would probably say it right. Its element is water, and its number is 4. Because it's 13 is a 4. In numerology. All right, what is next? So basically for me, the death card is change or slow change to the point that it is sickening. That it's like, please just let it go. Let it end. The next one is temperance. And notice how in temperance, the foot is in the water. The roadway to the sun is there. Notice the roadway goes from the water to the sun. The flowers are blooming near the water. The way the water goes from one chalice to another, delivered by the angel. And so let's look. Moderation and balance and harmony. Synergy, merging apparently opposite elements to create a whole greater than its parts. Adapting to the environment. Promoting, managing, or directing to create a single production for the efforts of many. Reverse meaning means out of balance, disharmony. The attempts to merge opposite elements fail. Individuals you are working with may be uncooperative. Oh, go figure. Planet is Sagittarius. Element is fire, and its number is 5. So I use this card, tells me something is flowing. It's either flowing or it's not flowing. It's either flowing or there's a block. And if I get negative, it means block. If it's straight up, for me, it means something's flowing like it should be. All right, next, the devil. Now, what I want to point out about the devil, notice that there is no devil in this picture. That's basically the beast on top of that block is Pan from Greek mythology. It's not the devil. It's Pan. And the people, that the man and the woman that's attached, I don't know if you can see it really good, but they're willfully attached to that stone. They're not captured there. They're willfully attached. You notice the chains around their neck are very loose. So they could leave anytime, but they choose to be attached to that stone. So this is my card of addiction. I call this my sex, drugs, rock and roll card. So this is excesses and extremes. Careless and unrestrained sexuality, drug abuse, alcoholism, obsession, perversion, giving in to temptations. Why not? Reverse meanings, most often escape from the bondage of self-destruction behavior. The subject is likely to realize the damage they are doing and start down a more constructive path. So it's actually, if it's upside down, it's better. It's almost like recovery, understanding virtue. So basically it's just the opposite. When it's upside down, it's the opposite. So straight up, this is addiction. I call it my sex, drugs, and rock and roll, or shopping, shopping, overeating, anything in excess. But when it's upside down, it means they identify it and they are trying to do something about it. Its planet is Capricorn. Its element is Earth. Its number is 6, because it does happen to members of the family. And the next one is 16, is the Tower. Now, when I give advice, this is the best advice card there is. It is, although people don't like the way this card looks, because when you look at it, you see this creepy looking building on top of these rocks, and you see lightning has struck it and it's blown the top off of it, and these people are falling out. It's on fire, and there's rain and lightning and all this kind of crazy stuff, going all around. But this card, I'm gonna read the instructions to you, and then I'm going to give you the main, like the easiest way to remember this card. Unexpected catastrophe, turmoil, upheaval. And the reverse means you may think you have smoothed things over, but catastrophe and turmoil are waiting for you around the corner because you have not really addressed the underlying problems. Traditionally, disruption, oppression, subjugation, and persecution. Its planet is Mars, its element is fire and water, and its number is 7. When I look at this card, what this card means is it's time to burn the dead grass so new grass could grow. It's time for you to clean up whatever the hell is not working, get rid of it so new stuff can grow. Get rid of it. And if you can't get rid of it, that's when a catastrophe is going to happen. So this is, to me, is like the warning card. Like, you need to take care of your business right now. You need to get in there and take care of your business right now, because if you don't, things are about to go down. And so that's how I look at this card. For me, this is a great card because it tells you time to clean house. Clean your house so things can get better. Okay. And after that one, we have the star, 17. Now, for me, the star is pretty much exactly what it says it is. Notice the pond, the water, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Notice how the one jar that is feeding the land is nurturing the land. The stars are bright in the sky, the sun, the bird, the trees. Everything looks happy. The person there looks healthy. The lady there looks healthy. Things look good. It's all about flow, success. The star represents hope for the future. The water is being poured from the jugs to replenish the land and the sea. Rejuvenation will come. It's upside down as lack of hope, at least for the present. Opportunities are absent and troubles persist. Traditionally, disappointment, instability, poor choices. Its planet is Aquarius, so it's the constellation of Aquarius. Its element is air, and its number is 8. And then we have 18, the moon. Okay, so notice the howling at the moon. Notice the crustacean coming out of the water. Notice the female in the moon. Let's talk about that a little bit. Here we go. There's the moon. And mystery, nightmares, dreams, the fears that grow in dark secrets. Reverse meaning, although it indicates less danger of external hidden enemies and deception, it suggests heightened fears or denials. Perhaps overly emotional, delusional behavior, irrational, intense fear could cause psychological problems. If I see this mixed with a few things, this is where I get your psychological, people who have psychological issues like depression or bipolarness, or if it's an elderly person, maybe Alzheimer's, or what they call it, sundowners. Okay, depending upon the cards that are on side of it, they could tell you those things. Hint, hint, that's a test question. When you take my class, I'd ask you, pull me the cards that mean sundowners. That somebody's living with somebody with sundowners. But anyway, its planet is Pisces, its element is water, and its number is 9. Number 19 is the sun. And the sun is, I mean, look at the horse, the kid on the horse, the happiness, the sunflowers in the back are significant. The walls, the face on the sun, just the way it is, it looks like happy, joy, sunshine, light on the subject. It's friendship. It looks kind. It looks friendly. It makes you feel. It's a feel-good card when it's straight up. So it's emergence from the darkness. Remember, we're just in the moon. Now we're emerging from the darkness of the night into the light of the day. Radiance, energy, success, prosperity, clarity of thought enhanced by previous trials, but also fueled by the youthful optimism. Pessimism is overcome. Depression fades. Reverse meaning, refusal to open one's eyes to the possibilities. Most likely, this will be temporary delay. The enthusiasm and abilities are there, but the focus is clouded. Ultimately, the clouds should clear up. Traditionally, lesser happiness, passion, pride, misunderstanding. The planet is the sun. The element is fire. The number is 1, which is new beginnings. Judgment. So what you see, it looks like a judgment day. A bunch of open graves, a bunch of people coming out. The angels above calling everybody to Judgment Day. And this is card number 20. And it is resurrection. accepting the past and throwing off its burdens, forgiveness, especially of oneself, but also of others, major decisions which may result in major life changes. So think about where we've come so far with this. From the fool when he first started as a child, and now he's starting to really learn about who the fool is and what's going on and what's he done. He's met he had his mom and dad moment. He got a girlfriend and got married, a boyfriend if it was a girl, So he's been through his whole life. He got justice. He got court. He done been through the priest. He done experienced someone's death. He's done rechanged and regrouped his life with the tower. All of these lessons the fool is learning through life. And here we are. He's understanding why he is who he is and what he's been through. And he's learned forgiveness, especially of oneself, but also others, major decisions which may result in major lifestyle changes. The reverse meaning is if he didn't learn those lessons, would be the inability to change or progress, trouble or affected by the past, perhaps held back by others, possibly unable to move forward as a consequence of past deeds. This planet is Pluto, and its element is water and fire, and its number is 2. And the last card is the World. And notice the World. And let me see here. So in the World, let's go in. Realization. This is like the top of Maslow's hierarchy for you. This is like, this is when you either reached Maslow's hierarchy, with the fool reached Maslow's hierarchy, or he didn't. Because Jupiter is like the planet of money and riches and those things, but Saturn is your which is the planet for this guy here. Saturn, and then in astrology, your Saturn return is where you learn your lessons in life. I don't know if y'all know that, but in astrology, so your Saturn return which is usually every 26 to 28 years, you learn your lessons in life. And that wherever your Saturn, whatever house your Saturn's in, is whenever you're 26 years old, and then again, right around 58-ish, you'll have it again. 56, 58-ish, you'll have it again. And then right around in your 70s, you'll have it again. And wherever your Saturn is, you will have lessons, like something really serious is going to happen to you in those age brackets. And what that something is will depend upon which house your Saturn's in. And for mine was in my lesson was in financial and family, what I considered family, and I lost family members. My mother was my first Saturn return, and my business partner was my second Saturn return. So and there were big lessons in my life that I had to learn from those. And it was right in that house for that. That's where my Saturn was. Luckily for me, my Saturn and my Jupiter follow real close to one another. But anyway, just see if you know a little bit about astrology. Anyway, so its planet is Saturn, the element is earth and air, and its number is 3. So I don't know if I gave you the reverse meaning. The tools seem to be there, but successful completion is as of yet unattained. So this means the fool didn't complete their journey if it's his journey if it didn't upside down. Sometimes thoughts represent hollow or half-hearted efforts. And again, when you're doing a tarot reading, that you're not doing it I don't do them with just the major. I mix them also with the minor. And this is where it comes from. All the information comes from www.tarot-card.net/tarotcardmeetings.htm. I do not think this is an active website anymore, but if you want to write that down, you can, and you can find everything you want to know about Rider-Waite at that website. And that's what I teach, because everything you could possibly want to know, you can pull from that site. Only problem with that site, there is a ton of advertisements. I think that's what yanked it off of the website. Yanked it off the internet. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. So let me pull the Lovers and make sure I'm reading it right. So in the Lovers, which is right here, there's an so that's underneath. All right. So now you're going to get this when you take the class. And I hope y'all can see this, that it's not too small. for you. Let me if I can raise it. Now, if it's too small, let me know. But when you take the class, you'll get to see this. But so let's go with some of the symbols. And I will show you the cards as we go. So in the Lovers and in Temperance and in Judgment, which is 3 of the cards, there's an angel present. And so let me see. So here is the Lovers, and you can see there's an angel there. And in Temperance and Judgment, in Temperance, there's an angel. And in Judgment, which I just saw Judgment. Where'd she go? On Judgment. In Judgment, there's an angel in the heavens. And so whenever you see the angel in the tarot system, it means that they are messengers of the important information. So in a reading, their appearance indicates a message relating to that particular card. It may be coming to the querent in the form of an inspiration, divine intervention, or subtly. Angels symbolize higher thoughts and ideals. Let's see. In the Emperor card, which is the Father card, there is an Ankh. Let me find the Ankh. I saw an Ankh, but I didn't remember it being in the Emperor. Oh, yeah, in his hand. There's an Ankh, which just means that it deals with the immortality and balance. It is a common Egyptian symbol, which meaning life. Geometrically, the loop on the top represents the sun rising above the horizon. And it captures both immortality and balance. So, you know that. And the arch, which no, that's not in any of the ones I read tonight. The Emperor has armor. The armor in the Emperor, and the armor in the Death card, and the Chariot card. That's just the suit that they wear as a symbolic meaning of protection, strength, which that's kind of a given. And let's see. And there's a bird on the world, the wheel in the world. So let me see. The world, there's a bird in the upper corner up here. And then on the wheel, there's a bird up in the corner up here. There's a bird. And that symbol, just to give you what some of the old meanings are, the bird is with its higher thoughts and matters of the spirit. They are creatures of the air, so they symbolize higher ideals. They also represent freedom and ascension. When the bird's symbol pops out at us during a reading, it is a message that we are rising to a higher level, that we need to free ourselves from bondage, and we must make our hearts light. It's also they also have one in the star as well. The blindfold, which I can tell you now, well, that's on the 2 of Swords and of Justice. That's 6 of Swords. The sun has the brick wall, which the brick wall in the sun, that's going to be here, which is that brick wall behind the little boy there. Y'all can see that. I don't know if you can see that well behind the baby. Just means it's seen in the sun card. The brick wall is a symbol that you have been holding yourself back, or positive events have been prevented from flowing forth due to a negative or incorrect thinking. We see the brick wall. It is a message that we must be in a state of allowing in order for the good or sun rays to shine upon us. It also indicates we mustn't hold ourselves back or sell ourselves short. That's what the wall represents. Let's see, that's from the 5 of Cups. That's for the wheel. The wheel also has a bull as well. The bull is a symbol of power, royalty, stability, force, and potency. When we see the bull amongst the cards in a reading, we know we are dealing with some powerful forces that is shown in the world in the wheel card, because the bull Taurus is one of the fixed signs of the zodiac. The bull also carries symbolic meanings of resistance to change, being stubborn and inflexible. Butterflies. What's in the 2 of Cups? The castle and the Chariot. There's a castle. The castle symbolizes a meaning to deal with goals. Castles are physical representations of a need to build block by block upon a strong foundation in order to obtain our goals. Castles may also deal with sheltering ourselves or limiting ourselves from reaching our goals. They are also a symbol of obtaining our desires. Cat, yeah, there's a cat and the Queen of Wands. That's that wicked card, the Queen of Wands. I tell you about the Queen of Wands last night. Chains, as in the devil. Chains, as one might imagine, a symbolic meaning of chains deals with restrictions, bondage, conflict, and slavery. Featuring the devil card of the tarot deck, chains are a message that we may be in a situation where we might have become a slave to our own thoughts, vices, or to others. It indicates there is a restriction or an addiction revolving around the situation noted in the reading. Children, like in the sun, children represent promise, hope, fresh starts, new beginnings, new ideas, and a fresh way at looking at the world. Children are full of promise for the future, and such they are a symbol of this promise. When they show up on the cards in a reading, it could mean the beginning of a new adventure, the promise of a new beginning, or it could literally mean children are on their way. And they leave the, which surprises me that when they're naming these, there is the pages are the children of the deck. They don't even mention the pages here. That also has the same meaning for the pages of the deck. When we get into when Stacy, I resemble the bull. You do. The pages of the deck are also the children of the deck. And that was none of the when you take the course, you're going to get a copy of all of this. So you get a copy of all of this. So the clouds that's in the Lovers, the Wheel, the Tower, the clouds are in a bunch of them. The clouds hold the symbol meaning of revelation. Consider out of the midst of our deepest thoughts, suddenly an epiphany comes, a bright idea comes out of nowhere. This is a basic cloud symbol meaning. Depending on the card, clouds can also symbolize confusion or clouded judgment, depending on the color, the clarity, or how the clouds are presented. Clouds represent higher thought and messages from the divine as well. And the dog you see in the moon and the man, man's best friend, symbol of the dog, deals with fidelity, honesty, loyalty, and truth. When a dog symbol pops out at us, we might think of ourselves one of the following questions: where are our loyalties, and what are we putting our faith? Are we being true to ourselves? The dog in our cards is also a good indication that we're on the right track, as they are symbolic of stability and righteousness. And the dove is in the Ace of Cups, Nine of Pentacles, the Devil in Tower. Fire. Fire is a symbol of both creative and destructive power. Among its many cultural symbol meanings are energy, transformation, passion, ambition, inspiration, and power. In many faiths, fire is a symbol of representing a test of faith or the measure of one's purity. This very well may be the case in the two cards fire is featured, the Devil in the Tower. Fish is in none of the main deck. Flag. So we have flag in these three: Death, Sun, and Judgment we did look at tonight. So when we consider the cards on which the flag is featured, Death, Sun, and Judgment, we get a good concept of its symbol meaning. The flag is an announcement to change. Something has shifted. A flag makes the world aware of the shift. It is a bright, bold, and obvious sign that a new day is dawning. This is not about subtle shifts. The flag is about in-your-face transformation, an event to announce to all who will hear. Flowers, globes. Globes is one on the Emperor. So globes, often depicted as the world. Globes possess symbol meaning of totality, both cosmic and physical. When the globe catches our attention on a card, it is an indication that achievement is imminent. We have the whole world at our fingertips. It is also a symbol of comprehension, getting the idea or grasping the bigger picture. The globe is also a geometric aspect of the circle, which deals with infinity, completion cycles, and again, totality. Guys, remember when I'm teaching you to read this, that I don't want you to boggle yourself down with all the meanings that are in the books. Look at the cards. What are they saying to you? When you're reading somebody, get what you're pulling from the person you're reading. And when you're reading the story, what are you being focused on as you're reading the pictures on the cards? How are they talking to you? They're going to tell you a story. Okay? It's like reading a book. those are all the minor arcana. Empress has a heart, so on her. So as one would assume, the heart has long been a symbol of love, joy, and affection. The heart is also a symbol of truth, courage, and consciousness. The symbolic heart is the center of existence. Physically speaking, it pumps out life to the rest of the body. When we note the heart in our reading, we must be mindful of our own center. What is the center of our focus? We may also ask what we love most, that is, which is positive or negative. All right, well, I'm not going to talk about the hoe. That don't come till we get to the Seven of Pentacles. Horn. Much like the flag symbol meanings, the horn is also a symbol of announcement, only more forceful. Horns symbolize a joyous, boisterous, victorious, triumphant announcement. They signal all within an earshot that something has happened or is about to happen soon. Horns announce both victory and oncoming attack. Keep this in mind when the horn comes to your attention on the Judgment card. Horse. Featured on all the night cards of the tarot, the horse, and actually on Death's Sun as well, in the Death and Sun card. The horse symbolizes meaning deal with strength, motion, action, and vitality. Linked in many ancient traditions with the four elements, fire, water, earth, air, the horse is also a strong spiritual symbol and an emblem of incorporating all the elements to maintain an equal power balance with all things in the universe. This is evident in either or nature of the knights. In a more mundane sense, the horse is predisposition to have a charging nature. In a reading, this gives us pause to consider where we are charging to and why. House. Lord, we don't need anything with the houses. Ice. Yep, there's plenty of ice. Fool, Hermit, I think I brought that up. Fool on 4 of the cards. So ice symbolizes meaning deal with isolation, patience, waiting, distance, and objection. Ice is used in tarot to convey a feeling of separation. It also used to portray a time of deep contemplation or a process of growth that is not perceived until much later. For example, spring is only evident after the thaw. Keys, that's on the Hierophant, which is the Pope. Keys unlock things, and as such, they represent knowledge, intellect, and uncovering things that are hidden from us. The keys of the Hierophant card symbolize the keys to spiritual knowledge and wisdom. The ancient Greeks depicted keys as symbols for knowledge and life. When these keys catch our attention, we may need to ask if we are locking up our potential or if we feel something is being locked away from us. Lantern is also in the Hermit. The lantern carries with it all symbol meanings that deal with light. It is the vehicle for intelligence, truth, and illumination. In Hinduism and Buddhism, a lamp is a symbol of life. Lamp also serve as a devotional symbol and embody of the spirit of virtue, faith, and vigilance. When the lantern of the Hermit shines brightly to our awareness, it is a symbol of clarity coming through and life revealing precious gifts to us. So the infinity symbol, that's what I'm going to say because I ain't going to say the lemniscate because I'm going to probably say that wrong. The infinity symbol is a geometrical representation of the endless and eternal nature of energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It simply continues on forever in motion. The symbol meaning of this emblem serves to remind us of the infinite nature of our spirit as well as our thoughts. When the symbol comes to our attention, it may be a message that we should consider the consequences of our thoughts and deeds, the effects of which can be infinite. Lightning. Typically, the symbol meaning of lightning deal with the instant and divine intervention. Lightning is a major message from a higher source, a message from the observer to wake up and pay attention to his or her surroundings. Lightning was viewed as a creative spark to the Native Americans as it signified the winking thunderbird. Linked with both fire and water, lightning is also viewed as both creator and destroyer in many cultures. When the lightning bolt in the Tower card flashes at you, perhaps it is a message to pay attention to what creative or destructive forces are at work in your life. Lily. There's a lot of symbols in these cards, folks. The lily has symbol meanings of purity, innocence, and fertility. Also, lily symbolism deals with vulnerability and the freedom to be ourselves, as well as allowing others to be as they are too. The lily is also a symbolic flower of health and provision. In a reading, the lily can signal growth, development, and quality of innocence of our lives depending on the surrounding cards. The lily may also indicate new relationships and births. The lion signifies one of the four fixed signs of the zodiac. Lion symbolizes meaning deal with the strength, courage, royalty, and the protection. Much like lightning, the lion is viewed as both savior and destroyer in ancient cultural myth. The lion is a bit of a paradox. While standing as a symbol of spiritual value, it is also a symbol for the beastly needs of the flesh. When the lion roars at us in the cards, we are encouraged to consider the level of our courage. Are we seated in faith or flesh? Are we protecting others or ourselves? Are we being strong or just stubborn? Okay, I don't need to do lizards. Lobster, is that what they call that on the moon? Lobster, also depicted as a crab or crawfish in other deck renditions. The lobster symbolizes meanings deal with cycles, regeneration, and protection. These creatures are lunar symbols. They cast off the shells of nuances, and this is where the rebirth recycling association plays its part. The protective symbolism is evident in the hard, spiny exoskeleton found with these creatures. When a lobster in the moon card crawls into our consciousness, we're reminded of the cyclical nature in our lives and what protection we may need for the path on which we embark. Moon. The moon symbol meaning deals with the cycles, time, psychic power, reflection, and emerging from one phase into another. Consider the power of the moon, able to influence oceans and the effect of the realm of nature in strong, subtle ways. Also a symbol of femininity, the moon is a sign of the softer, intuitive side of us all. When the moon lights up in our readings, it is a prompting to consider our levels of awareness. The moon asks us if we listen to our intuition or what we are allowing to influence our direction in life. Mountains, which is in many cards. And it says that deals with triumph, challenge, attainment, realizations. Mountains are represented as timeless and endurance that is infinite. When those mountain peaks out on the cards into our attention, we may consider the vastness of our universe and contemplate our place within it. We may also want to consider the heights to which we are climbing and what realization of our goals may mean for us and those around us. I can skip that one. Path. As you might imagine, path symbolizes dealing with direction as well as path to choose to travel in any phase of our life. Paths remind us that journeys of a life begin with one small step. Paths in our reading are indicative of beginnings and endings and the steps we take in between that create the life we are living. When paths wind their way in our readings, we must consider these things and question the intention and sincerity of the steps we are taking upon each of our paths. We must also reevaluate the commitments we've made to our life path. Pillars. Okay. Pillar symbols meanings are all about balance. Typically, the focal point of the card is planted staunchly betwixt two towering pillars. This is a visual indication that the figurehead of the card has chosen middle ground. When the pillar towers over our readings, it is time to consider matters of diplomacy, balance, tact, and strategy. It is a sign that going between may be advantageous than taking the proverbial high road or low road. Rather than seeing things as left or right or black or white, perhaps we consider a middle road or third option with a new and different perspective. Pitcher. The pitcher is a vessel, and as such, we are keenly interested, and that's in the star, and as keenly interested in the contents as a vessel. The pitcher symbol deal with deal with what we are holding in our lives. What does our heart hold? Our minds, even our bodies. Depicted in the star card, we see the clean, clear waters pouring forth, a sign that we must be pure vessels in order to expand, express, and put forth purity. When the pitcher makes itself prominent in your reading, grab it by the handle and begin to contemplate what kind of vessel you are. What are you holding? And are the contents coming out of you as pure as they can be? Fields I don't need this time. Priestess. The pomegranates that you saw. Remember I told you about the high priestess, and there was some in the empress as well. Pomegranate symbol meanings deal with abundance, fertility, lusciousness, generosity, and union. Used in many cultures as a symbol of marriage, fertility, and love, the pomegranate, with its leathery outer skin and its juicy, sweet interior, is a symbol of encompassing bliss, reminiscent of passion and luxury. It is also a strongly feminine symbol and is associated with feminine sexuality. When visions of pomegranates dance in our heads during a reading, it is time to consider the power of the divine feminine side. The pomegranates is also a message for us to tap into the luxurious side of life, recognize the richness, abundance, and wonder that surrounds us at every turn. It is also a sign of union with the divine as well as a union with others. The ram, featured prominently in most decks, the head of the ram has the symbol meaning of determination, action, initiative, and leadership. The ram is also a symbol of Aries, which is the astral ruler of the Emperor. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, further reinforcing attributes of the leadership, authority, and other forefather type characteristics. When the ram butts our attention, it is a sign to take responsibility, get up, take action, get motivated to accomplish our goals. Ropes, like in the hangman. As we would guess, ropes symbolize meanings deal with binding and confinement and restriction. When we think of ropes, we often think of knots and being all tied up in them. In the case of the hangman, however, the rope is a utility. It serves as a necessity in order to pull away from our internal knots. We are tied up. We are forced into a state of non-action, and this is precisely the answer to our problems. The more we struggle with the ties that bind, often the tighter they become. Rose, a long-standing symbol of purity, promise, and beauty. The rose symbol meaning deal with the promise of new beginnings and hope. We must also take the thorns into consideration with the promise of new hope. We may have to endure a few stinging thorns along the way. Overall, the rose is a poignant symbol of beauty that is ready to unfold within each of our hearts and remind that we must take the opportunity to savor the beauty around us. Scale, as one would guess, scale meaning with equality and balance. It is a perfect visual measure when something is out of whack. The scale is also its precision, shows us which part of our life is out of balance. When the scale is tipped more to one side, we know we need to take some more corrective action. Scroll, the scroll symbol meaning deal with knowledge that is carried down from era to era. Scrolls are a symbol of ancient wisdom and sacred knowledge, usually of a secretive nature. When the scroll flashes at you in a reading, it is time to get in touch with the facts that are hidden. Get to the source of knowledge and educate yourself about what is going on in the situation pertaining to the reading. Shield, the shield symbolizes deal with defense, protection, and covering up. Featured in the Empress card, the shield is an unlikely symbol for a card exhibiting virtues of love and abundance. However, in the midst of the most happy and abundant times, the shield is a message for us to protect ourselves from overindulgence and is a signal for us to make preparations to shield or protect that which we value most, that is family, friends, and our future. Ship. Yes. Okay, so yes, says ship. Yes, of course, ship. Symbol meanings deal with travel and journey. However, a commonly overlooked factor in the medium upon which they said water, it deals with the deeper levels of the psyche and the subconscious. When ships sail across your vision in a reading, take into consideration where your thoughts, psyche, are traveling. What kind of baggage or cargo are you carrying around, or are you charting or navigating out of the best course for your thoughts and emotions? Snakes. Snakes symbolize meanings deal with renewal, rebirth, and development, primarily because they shed their skin during each cycle and growth. Snakes are also cold-blooded, which means they depend on their environment for their body temperature. This is symbolic message that we must be adaptive, flexible, and adjust as best as we can to our circumstances. When the snake slithers across the card in our consciousness, we may need to ask ourselves if we need to shed a part of ourselves to allow further growth, or perhaps we need to be a little more flexible in situations at work or at home. Y'all, there is a lot of symbols in these cards, but I promised you I was going to do them with you. Sphinx is in the Chariot and the Wheel of Fortune. Symbolic meaning of the Sphinx deals with guardianship and protection of the secrets of life. Long consideration to be a tyrant and myth, the Sphinx was said to be incessantly provoke passerby with riddles. Only those who could answer their riddles were allowed to entrance into the gates they guard. The Sphinx physical construct is also symbolic of the senses. When the Sphinx paws its way into our attention in a reading, we are called to answer a riddle using all of our senses to determine the secrets that may be holding us back. The staff. Here we are recognizing the staffs found in the cards that are specifically used to support the archetypes in the cards. With this parameter in mind, the staff symbol meanings deal with support, stability, direction, and singleness of purpose. The staff is also a symbolic representation of the numeral 1, and as such is carry a meaning of new beginning, first attempts, and again, single-mindedness in thought as well as deed. Star. As long as we have been able to look up the stars, we have been looking to them for illumination, direction, and guidance. Thus, the star symbol meanings deal with shedding light on our lives, offering us navigation when we need it, and providing consistency when our lives seem to be topsy-turvy. When the stars in the cards featured below wink at us in a reading, you know it is time to look at a higher source for direction and realize the starry light within our hearts can also illuminate our way. The sun. So much is dependent upon the existence of the sun. Its symbolic meanings are endless. Primarily, the sun is a symbol of expansion, growth, energy, and creativity. The sun shines upon your consciousness in a reading. Pay attention to its position in the sky, setting, midday, or rising, as its position is also symbolic. Rising the sun is a symbol of new beginnings. Setting indicates endings or transition, and midday indicates full force or creative endeavors. And notice I told you about that. And remember in one of them, I think it was the Death Fetish. It was one of them I was telling you. Notice it was starting to rise. I had mentioned that to you when we were doing that. The sunflower. If you've ever observed this happy flower, you've noticed that its head always looks to the sun. This is the message of the sunflower. Always look to the light for the answers of guidance you seek. When the sunflower nods at us in a reading, it is time to look away from the dark, or look away from the negativity and look to the positive or the light side of things. It sounds cliche, but keep going on the sunny side as the sunflower does assure a sunnier disposition. Tombs, like in Judgment, when it was resurrection. Tomb symbol meanings deal with the laying to rest the thoughts and things that no longer serve us. When we see the tomb in our readings, we must not misunderstand the message. This symbol has very little to do with physical death. Rather, it deals with the coming out of poorly situated mindsets and freeing ourselves from tomb-like belief systems. Often this period of coming out occur after much time of stagnation. Another facet of the tomb, where we are once interred or encased for a time, we evolve from our tomb into a new phase of understanding. The triangle. In ancient Egypt, the triangle was seen as a symbol of intelligence and indicated the capacity for love. The Buddhists utilized this geometric pattern in the Sri Yantra, I'm not sure, mandala, I know that one, as a tool to invoke the energy of love. The triangle also deals with the love represented in the mother, father, child union, as well as the Holy Trinity. Additionally, this symbol has long been recognized as a sign of balance and creativity. I thought I did the wall already. That's a different wall and two other cards. Okay, it's another waterfall in the High Priestess and the Empress. Water is a symbol of emotion and subconscious. Therefore, waterfalls deal with constant running and flowing movement of our emotions, the stirring movements of our deeper minds. Observing the nature of waterfalls, we see they typically move at such a rushing speed that they tend to take everything with them in their path. Rocks, trees, and debris in the midst of a waterfall is subject to its pull. This is the symbolic that we must not let our emotions run away from us. Further, the waterfall leads to plummeting drop and crashing against jagged rocks. This is a lesson when we are not in control of our emotions and thoughts, and then they control us, potentially leading us down a rocky demise. The wolf. The wolf is a symbol of our primal urges and bares its teeth at our every attempt to be conventional. As a member of the canine family, the wolf is also a symbol of loyalty and intelligence. When the wolf comes howling out of the cards in a reading, it is time to refocus on our core desires and compare them with our loyalties. Simply put, we are being true to our core self, or are we trying to fit in or measure up with the image we feel we must sustain in societal view. The wreath. Typically, wreaths of laurel are depicted on various featured cards listed below. Wreaths of this type have long been a symbol of victory ever since the first ancient games upon Mount Olympus, where the victor was crowned in laurels. Hence the term resting his laurels comes when one relies on his or her credentials rather than further drive or action. A sweet-smelling laurel leaf is also a symbol of protection, peace, and purification. It is associated with the god Apollo. It is a message of the favor of the gods is upon us, and we all shall be a victor in this stage of our lives. Whew. So how's that for symbology? How many of y'all did I lose? I'm down to 8. That was a lot, but that's just the symbology. This is just the symbology that was on the major. There's also, if you notice, a lot of stuff from the minor arcana that's here. So this is just the symbology that was on the major deck. And I'm going to take us back to full screen now. So, and again, when you take the class, you do get a copy of all of this. And I'm not quizzing you on all of that. I went kind of fast because I wanted you to see that the main purpose. So like over the last couple of days, we've gone over like, you know, the numerology. We've gone over, you got to see some of the planetary and astrology things in the tarot. Like I tell people, this class, my brain I tell people this particular class, the reason why I don't teach it often, maybe once every year or once every other year I would teach this class, is because it's one of those cut your wrist classes, because there's so much information that it's a lot. And so I figured that if I just come online and give it to you in little pieces and then maybe throw a master class behind it that's not as intense as this, it might be better. And that way people can join in, or they can join in and they can leave when they want. That way I don't have to see you coming in or leaving. You can take with this from you want. That way when you come to the other class, the in-person class, you'll have some knowledge. And so when we go into the master class of tarot, you'll have some general knowledge. And I've given you the website to go look some of this stuff up. You know, when you come to the class, you're going to get a copy of all of this, you know, so I'm going to give it to you. Am I going to teach it again? No. This is where you're going to get it. So I'm not going to teach it again, but I am going to get you familiar with all of this so that you can start practicing at home. And so you can start going through your cards and doing little mini readings for yourself, your family, your friends, you know, and just get in the habit of telling the story, because a good intuitive can tell the story of the sitter. And that's what you're going to do. You're going to learn to tell the story of the sitter through using one of your tools, whether it's your mind, whether it's your card, whether it's your pendulum, whether it's a spirit, whether you're connecting soul to soul and going to a spirit. You're going to learn to tell that story. And you have to be able to do that. And what I'm giving you now are just tools. They're just tools. You know, and we just did the major deck, and I haven't even done, there's a lot of stuff I still haven't done with this deck. I haven't gone over the colors yet. I'm not, you know, so there is a lot more. You know, I mean, we just barely scratched the surface. Like I said, this course is normally a week-long course. It's 7 days. We've only covered one PowerPoint out of 4. Plus, you know, I've already prepped y'all 2 other hours on this. So we're already 3 hours in, and I still got 3 more PowerPoints. And then we'd have, and then if we were doing a class, we'd have a whole hour or more than an hour. We'd have probably 2 hours of just practice, where everybody would work together in groups and practice. So now you see why this class is so intense. Yes, I will. Like I said, I will. The other 3 on Wednesday nights. So yes, I do everything on a Wednesday night usually. The main classes are on Wednesday. I prep for those classes before. So like last night, we talked about the numerology, and we talked a little bit about the different suits and what they mean. I'm going to repeat a lot of that stuff again, but it helped people just start getting an idea of what's coming up, so that when I go through it quicker, they can understand what's going on. So if you can tune in more nights at 8 o'clock, great. If you can't, that's fine. I don't always know what night I can be on at 8 o'clock, but I'm trying to do more nights because this is a lot of stuff. Like, I'm trying to give you as much information as I can to help you out. And I am going to repeat a lot. I mean, I am. There is. I mean, what you got tonight was just the major. That's only 22 cards. There are 56 more cards we have to go through. And Teresa, I see you all the time. I can go over, and Daphne actually has a copy of this book at her house. So have her bring it by. I gave Daphne a copy of this book to take home. So she actually has a copy of that book at her house. So so Daphne actually has a copy. So you can hit Daphne up, since she's your friend. You can hit Daphne up. She actually has a copy of that book that she borrowed from me. And since I know where she lives and I see Daphne a lot, I know I'm gonna get that book back when I teach my class, because I'll need it when I teach the class, because I only have so many books. But I do email everybody a copy of all the PowerPoints and a copy of all the book contents. You get a copy of all of that when you take the class. And you can also rewatch this video, because this is going to be on YouTube. It is on YouTube, and it is saved on Facebook. So, and it's on YouTube. And please, if you go to YouTube, please subscribe to my channel, the Touch an Eternity podcast channel. And if you follow me on TikTok, always, do whatever it is, tap and all that fun stuff. Say hello, leave a comment, say if you liked it, if you didn't like it. If you did like me, and you say this was a risk-cutting class, because I tell you, I'm honest, it's a risk-cutting class. I want to just drip blood. Even teaching it, I want to drip blood because it's a long class, because it's so in-depth. It really covers everything you want to know about the cards. And basically what it boils down to, the reason I say that to you is, once you've learned all this, it's almost like nursing. If any of y'all nurses out there, I know Zita's a nurse. So it's almost like, you go to nursing school and they make you learn all these care plans. And they make you learn all this stuff that you're never going to use again. But it's kind of like tarot. I'm going to make you learn all this stuff. And what it doesn't, and you're really not going to use it again in this format. But what you will do is that information is going to be in your head, so that when you're doing your reading, it's going to trigger you to do certain things. Just like, you never really do a care plan like you did in nursing school, but medications because of that, or procedures because of that, because you had done them in a care plan starting way back then, and all that has built and carried on since then. And so it's kind of that same concept. Because I guess for you nurses out there, y'all might understand it. That's kind of how this works. I'm really giving you the book knowledge, one step by step. Where it all came from, how it all does. I even have on here when it all got created, and what is the true story of tarot, how it got created, how it got started. And, I got you, that's even in here too. So, I mean, it's all there, and it's just to give you a common knowledge, so that you can start to feel it. So your energy can connect to it. You can synapse with it. And so when you're starting to read, you're not going to remember it all, but you're going to have such a grand knowledge of it that it's going to start making sense when you start seeing the pictures and you're starting to feel the energy of your sitter. It's all going to start making sense to you, and your readings are going to become more fluent. Your readings will definitely become more fluent. And so next week we're going to start with the cups. So prepare. So I recommend you to get some cards. We're going to do the cups, and then we're going to do we got the cups, and then we're going to do the swords, and we're going to do the cups, and we're going to do the pentacles, and the swords, and the last one will be the wands. And then I got some Word docs as well to do on those afterwards. I'll show you some spreads, because I got those mapped out for you as well. And then I got some PowerPoints plus Word docs of each of those. I'm finding that teaching the intuitive tarot, a lot of people come to that because it's a fun class. And a lot of people come, but they never take it past that. A few people come to this, but I've never seen them take it past that. And I really want to see people start utilizing what I'm teaching. So I want to give you this part now free, and then I want to give you a master class where I want you to start utilizing what I want to see you work. I just see you going out there and reading people on a regular basis. I don't care if you're charging it, that's on you. But I at least want to see you out there reading people or utilizing the gift that you have. I want to see you putting it to work, putting it to action. That's the purpose. I mean, you can do it for yourself. You can help other people with it, or if you want to charge for it, that's fine. You don't want to charge for it, that's fine. I mean, when I first started reading, I think I charged like $10 a reading. Now I'm 100. No, 50 for 30 minutes. But from an hour reading, it's 100. I know training, I think now is anything you get from training now is like 175, I think. 175, 185. That's her rate. Flat rate, no matter which one. But you want tarot, you want mediumship, you want, for the hour. I mean, it's just an hour flat rate. So it just depends. I mean, when you get so busy, after a while, you have to go up on your price, because then if not, you never have a day off. So I mean, you becomes in such high demand, you have to go. That's why people go up. When you get so many people, you have to go up to kind of bring your demand back down. Yeah, I remember. I that was probably a long time ago. But I mean, I used to do by donation actually in the beginning. I think the first thing I started charging was 10. That was probably in when I started doing it like on a regular basis. But I started reading when I was 13, but I went on a regular basis. I was probably in my 20s, so that was probably in the 80s. So probably around 86, 87, I was charging 10, 88. Before that, I would do by donation, which whatever they gave me was fine. And sometimes they were free. I do a lot of free stuff now, but but those are more consultation things than there are readings. But anyway, so it just depends. I mean, some people who do this for a living can't. I mean, if you're doing this for a living and you got to go buy groceries, pay gas, you can't. I mean, nowadays you can't. I mean, you can't. With the cost of things these days, you can't. You can. There are people who do this just for that. This is their living. I mean, and you got to make a living, so you have to charge a certain rate. I mean, you can't. Today you really can't read anything less than no less than 50 a half hour. You'll starve, and you better have a clientele if you're charging that. I mean, this is all you're doing. I mean, I have another job, so I don't have to read a bunch of people. I have an alternate job, but there's a lot of people who do just this. I mean, Trini does just this. This is all she does. But she has a very large clientele. So, I mean, but she has to charge. I mean, this is how she makes her living. And in that she travels. So she has to make enough to fly to different cities. She has to. She's got a family to raise. She's got mortgage. She's, I mean, she's got a family of 4. Yeah, think about that. It's got, so you got to remember, people don't think about that. Plus because of the type of business, she's in a high tax bracket. And she has to, and because it's not a business. But you gotta think about this when you do this kind of work like this. I mean, we have to pay higher taxes because it's not considered an we're not paying, they don't take out federal, they don't take, so we have to pay all that at the end, so it's like double. We got to pay our own insurance and that kind of stuff, so it's a lot. How was Katie? Well, thank you. You found out yesterday. I don't know what I told you, but okay, thank you. Katie, let me rephrase that for you, sweetheart. You were dead on because you shuffled and you turned and I just turned those cards, or you came. It was your energy that said that to me. So You were right on. I like the link to pet. Maybe somebody said you were right on. No, no, no. You shuffled them cards. You were right on. Yeah. So hopefully we get the economy down where it needs to be eventually, and we can start to maybe come down a little bit, you know, on our things. I'm luckily like I said, luckily I have a hopefully, yeah, because the cards, I show people what the cards say. I show people, like, this is why I'm telling you this. This is what you're showing me here and what I'm hearing and seeing, and this is why I'm saying this. And if you hadn't turned this up, I wouldn't be going there. You turned this up, so this is why I'm going there, and this is why I want to talk about this. And like I told you guys yesterday, when I read, I'll tell people, I am going to ask you questions. If you want to come here and play Stump the Psychic, you're going to have a half butt reading, because I can read you and be 85% perfect, and you don't have to tell me nothing. I'll just sit here and read whatever those cards say, but I'm not going to give you any detail. I'm going to read right what they say, and I'm going to have about an 80 to 85% accuracy. You answer my questions, I'm going to be 95 to 100% accurate, because I don't claim to be some mystical, magical person. I am just a normal person like anybody else. Whatever I'm doing for you, I can teach you to do for somebody else. I can teach you to do it. There's no magic here. There's no woo-woo. There's none of that. This is all normal behavior, normal stuff. This is all scientifically proven and done. There's no woo-woo, okay? It's just time. It's like riding a bike or playing a piano. Everybody's born with the ability. It's just being able to put it all together. It is easier for some people than it is others. It depends on the kind of job you have, how your brain functions. There's a lot of things that make it either easier or harder for some people to grasp it. But you could work through any of that. Anybody can do this. It's not that hard, but it's understanding a few concepts and finding what's easiest for you. What senses do you work with the easiest? Is it your sense of sight? Is it your sense of hearing? Your sense of feeling? Is it your sense of smell or taste? Is it your sense of just knowing? Is it your gut feeling? Which one of your senses do you work with the best? And which one can we train for you to use while you're working intuitively? Which one of those can we work with to develop and get you to strengthen, so that when you're working intuitively, you can get accurate information and that you can trust it? That's the hardest thing for me to teach anybody, is to trust. If I can teach you to trust it, then you will be successful. There's nothing woo-woo. No, you're not going to get the lottery numbers. No, you're not going to become a multimillionaire, rich and famous. You might. You can. There's people who do. But is it you who, if you might. Just depends on how much you can connect and how much of your heart you can take the tar off of, and you can get in there and connect to that vibration, because it's about energy and about connecting to the vibration and being able to interpret that vibration using your senses. Your way is going to be unique to you. Any teacher that tells you can't do this is not a good teacher, because you're all born with it. You can smell, you can taste, you can hear, you can see, you can do this. Everybody has it. So it's no secret. It's really no secret to this. And that's what I tell people. All these people, I was born with a veil and I saw all of this when I was young. And so all it might mean is you might get it a little easier than somebody else, but it doesn't make you any better or worse. Or everybody can do this. And that's what you need to know. You're born with it. And people who have a handicap, like if they're like in Dominic Bogue's case, who's in Touch Eternity, he's blind, so he has a keener sense. Because when you have one sense that's down, you escalate in another. So you have that keener sense. If people have blindness or hearing impairment or a smelling any deficit in any of the senses, escalates or elevates senses in another area. So it actually helps them in their intuitive studies or their intuitive work. So I don't say no, and I'm not telling people to go out there and do stuff to your senses to do that, because you can still be just as, be very good with, with your senses being all working. So, you know, don't go do something stupid just to be, to try to test your mediumship or your psychic awareness. That's crazy. So, yes, like, hey, yeah, I can smell the bullshit. I hear you, girl. So, again, next week we're going to do the cups first. So I will line up all the cups cards, and we will do those ace through king. Start with the ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Page and page, knight, queen, king of cups. We'll talk about the symbols in the cups, and we'll talk about all this stuff. So until that time, folks, I have to get going because I do have an early day tomorrow. But I will probably be online either tomorrow night or Friday just for a short period, and y'all can ask me some questions. So go ahead and look at all the things that I've given you tonight. If you have any questions, write them down. And if you see me online either tomorrow or Friday or both, I might get on both nights, go ahead and ask me your questions. Until then, you have a good night, and thank you for joining us on Touching Eternity, the podcast. This is the Tarot edition. Thank you. Y'all have a good night.